Out of all the sports teams that exist, certain countries have a big one or two, but we're proud to say our podcast is about the biggest team in the entire world.
And the only thing else I got to say is, how about them Cowboys?
Yeah! This is the World's Team Podcast. All about the world's team, the Dallas Cowboys, baby. We're here to redefine what it means to be a fan of the gridiron game. It's not just America's team anymore. Nope. We're taking that star-studded pride and spreading it across the globe. Each week, we dive into all things Cowboys. From game analysis that'll have you on the edge of your seat, to reactions and all the latest news. Whether it's free agency frenzy, draft day drama, or injury reports that make us want to hug our lucky jerseys a little tighter. We're bringing in fan groups from all over the place, from Germany, France, Brazil, the UK, Canada, Japan. Everybody gets to share their 2 cents on America's favorite team.
And here we go!
America's team! Mexico's team! World's team! My Dallas Cowboys!
And now your hosts, Paul Stewart and Mike Poland.
What's up, Cowboys Nation? Welcome to the World's Team, not just America's team. It is the World's Team, and we are back. Apologies for the little hiatus. I was on vacation. Just obviously with the time differences, it just wasn't going to work out. But we are back. But yes, I am joined as always by my brother-in-laws, Mr. Mike Poland. You can find him on bloggingtheboys.com. Go and check out his articles. Go and check out bloggingtheboys.com. But anyways, Mike, how are we doing, bro?
Yes, good. I mean, we are deep into combine territory, so it's like Christmas and New Year for me. So this is what it's all about. Like college and draft. That's it. Everything else can take a backseat.
Yeah, so for anyone that doesn't know about Mike, he thrives in this part of the season. He loves college football more than anyone I know outside of America. Like, he really does his due diligence on everything, on player scouting. He's done scouting for particular networks before, etc. So when Mike knows something and mentions some type of players, listen. Even our good friends like Jay Tuck has actually got some information from Mike to help him with his draft analysis as well. So, but yeah, so we are going to be doing the first 2025 mock draft for this year. So, obviously, leading up to the draft, we're going to have different versions of the mock draft. But before we do that, Mike, let's hit with some latest news. So hit me with it. What's been happening with our Dallas Cowboys since our worst nightmare that happened? That was Philadelphia winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if we just stick with the latest news. So the big news coming out this week with the combine, Schottenheimer in his press conference has talked about it too, and we're hearing lots of rumblings, lots of information coming out about it, is that Osa Odigizua and DeMarcus Lawrence are close to getting a contract extension done. Now, we're a bit sad. We're a little bit upset because Zach Martin has officially retired. We got told, we won't say who told us, but we were told many moons ago that Zach was going to retire. And we did mention it on this show that, look, don't expect him to come back. Because we were told very, very directly.
We knew, mate. We knew it was going to happen.
We got told, like, literally, I could be careful what we say, from the horse's mouth, that he was going to retire.
Person that remains to be unnamed. Just leave it like that.
We always protect the people who tell us this information. Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest thing. And at the end of the day, if we started saying he told us and this guy told us, they'll stop telling us stuff because we're not.
No, exactly. But but I wouldn't say it was essentially official in terms of we knew that Zach Martin was going to retire. Like they had strong possibilities that was going to be the case. I wouldn't say it was guaranteed. I think Zach Martin decided you know what? Like after talking about it, like he made the decision. Denny informed the
Yeah.
Cowboys, and that it was made
Oh
official
no, yeah,
pretty
yeah, yeah.
much right away. But there was a really strong sense of aura that we knew, even just as fans in general, without
Mm.
our sources, like we just knew this was going to happen
Yeah, you
sooner.
always had a feeling, yeah.
Yeah,
Without
if it wasn't going to be this year, it was going to be next year for sure. Like,
yeah,
because like, but from me, like I've had the pleasure of meeting Zach Martin in person.
intelligent guy.
Lovely individual. Had a
Mm.
great time chatting with him back in 2017 at our sponsors Cowboys meet and greet. For if anyone doesn't know, Cowboys Experience down at the bottom right. Go and check them out. But yes, but Zach Martin is just the ultimate professional, ultimate team player. Like it really is. It's just sad that the only thing missing from his prestigious career as an offensive lineman is not getting a Super Bowl ring or even an NFC Championship trophy.
That's the one. Not even a championship. It is killer. And we've loved Zach Martin for so long. And with offensive linemen, it's always the same thing. That the least the less amount you hear about them on the field in a game. Well, you played offensive line,
Yeah,
but the if you don't hear about your offensive lineman on the field, it means he's doing his job. You only
exactly.
hear about the ones that aren't doing their job because obviously they're causing issues.
Yeah,
You
the
cannot,
only time you hear anything positive about offensive linemen is when they make a massive hit
yeah,
block,
like a
like
pancake. Yeah,
a pancake, and normally that will be dissected by proper analysts to say, "Did you see that play by Zach Martin? This
yeah.
is
Let's go
exactly
back.
what like they go back and review the footage, like Bellinger,
Like the Zeke play.
Bellinger, who goes on Twitter times, he'll dissect some video footage of some of the games of some offensive linemen, how they do things, and that really breaks it down. Like, look at his kickback step when he's in pass protection. Look at his hand placement; it's like spot on. Or like that's the proper praise you should be getting. Like, but other than that, 9 times out of 10, it's like you're saying. It's mostly negative, but if you're getting no negatives, then you're exactly right. They're
Yeah.
doing the job. And when you look at Zach Martin's career, look at how many Pro Bowls, how many All Pros he's made. And when and here's the thing, we well, I loved the draft pick at the time when
Mhm.
but not everyone back in 2014 was particularly happy that year.
Yeah, they scratched the head. Yeah, yeah.
Because everyone wanted one particular player, and that was Johnny Manziel, the former quarterback of Texas A&M. Sorry, Mike,
Yeah.
your
You're all
name,
right. Okay, okay.
but obviously we all know how Johnny football transpired into Cleveland.
Yeah.
Say that the better. But did we make the right choice? 100%.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like we actually managed to extend Tony Romo's career, like in some capacity. Obviously, 2016 that was pretty much the end of the road. I know it was only 2 years, but still,
Mm.
we actually managed to get the best out of Tony Romo when we actually had Zach Martin, Travis Frederick, Tyron Smith. Unfortunately, all those guys, like, it's an end of an era, a century. It's
He
a
does have.
century, sorry, a century. Uh,
Mhm. Yeah,
uh,
I mean that's a good point. What you said is Zach Martin represented that he was the last remaining guy of that era.
he's the old
Yeah,
guard, essentially.
yeah.
Yeah.
Here's a crazy statistic. I put it on my tweet when he retired. 9 All Pros, Paul. Right, this guy had a career 9 All Pros. In his career, he had only 7 holding calls. So he had more All Pros than he did holding calls.
So, just to add this into perspective as well, we're talking about Hall of Fame and stuff like that as
Well,
well, right?
yeah,
So, there's no shadow of a doubt he will be in the Hall of Fame as regarded as one of the best offensive linemen to ever play the game. Because when
yeah,
you look at of some of the other players
I
and
agree,
like
100%.
it's
Some
been
of those
drafted,
other offensive linemen that are in the Hall of
like
Fame.
Joe Thomas, for example, great offensive lineman for the Cleveland
Yeah,
Browns,
yeah, yeah,
never
yeah, yeah,
won a
yeah.
Super Bowl, less Pro Bowls than Zach Martin, less accolades than Zach Martin, but yet still in the Hall of Fame. So when you kind of put that into perspective, he should be a first ballot Hall of Famer, in my opinion.
Yeah. And you go back and you look at the sack totals as well. But then you go, and this is what I always judge players on, is I always judge them, like, forget about the tail end of their career. Like last year really was heartbreaking to see Zach Martin playing the
It
way that he
was.
did. Because you know that that's not him. And you're
Yep.
watching it and you're just watching that there's the decline here. You know, you factor in other, you know, there's other mitigating circumstances on his performance and the level of production that you were getting. But essentially, you were seeing a Zach Martin on the decline. It broke your heart. But what I always do is I look at a player in their prime. What were they like at the point of, like, the precipice of their career? How great were they? And Zach Martin was,
It was the best. It was the
he
best.
was. There was players, you know, like they do the top 100 players and they get other players to talk about. So
That's
you'd be like,
right. He was always in the conversation. Always.
And
Like,
you get coaches and players and they go, who's the best guard in the NFL? Same time, every time. And you'd see it in the top 100 NFL players, the same thing. But carry on, mate. Yeah.
I was going to say, I'm going to be very interested to see when the Zach Martin retirement press conference happens. What coaches is he going to contribute to his success? Like, is he going to single out, like, in terms of like praising Mark Colombo?
I think
Like,
it'd be cool.
is there going to be any mention of any other offensive line coach? Like, because I think that might be. Because from my perspective, there's been certain O-line coaches that I felt has kind of made him declined. Like Solari, Joe Philbin in a way. But Colombo for me was the pinnacle point for me. I think Colombo brought the best out of everyone.
I wonder if he'll have Duke anywhere.
I don't think he's worked directly with Duke. I don't think.
I think he's done some stuff with him, and he's a local guy.
I know I know he'll be there to kind of like celebrate his retirement. I know that. Duke is one of those guys that loves to kind of be there and like be there for those guys. Like, even though he may have not directly worked with him, but he's part of the same group. He's part of that O-line family per se. But anyway, but as you were saying, Mike, hit me with more latest news.
So Combine is on, as we mentioned. The Dallas Cowboys, one of 3 teams that did not host a podium interview with their GM. So no Jerry Jones, no Stephen Jones press conference, and Jerry hosts his annual interview from his coach, from his bus, whatever you want to call it, from his trailer. Declined to do that again this year, but also declined to do that this season.
You know what? I'm actually really happy about that.
A bit of silence.
Yeah, like the fact that we're not seeking the attention, the pressure that he's trying to take the pressure off Schottenheimer in any way, shape. Yes. So I think this is probably one of the first steps to actually get back in the good graces of the fans. Is not to be in the media as much. So I applaud that. I really do.
I agree.
I really, really do. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. It's always interesting to see what, and I think looking at previous experiences, what comes to the combine, free agency, etc. We've made some silly comments in certain press conferences and interviews before the agency and the combine, and it's actually stunning us. Like Lyle Collins, for example, we say, yeah, we're looking to trade them away. And because we mentioned that, no one was willing to make a deal with us. So we ended up having to cut him. So I think we're being more cynical, not cynical. I'm trying to find the right word here. Strategic. I can't even say it. My mouth is I'm
strategic.
Still Thank you.
I got you, bro.
Yes. So I think we're being more smart in our approach this year, because we don't want to like put all the cards on the table per se and let everyone know what we're doing. And that's the fun part. That's just what is now getting me hook, link, and sinker back into this after we've had that disaster of a season. So
Yeah.
I think we're making the right changes, not just from like obviously Schottenheimer is still going to be a test to see what he's capable of, but in terms of who he's brought in to support his coaching staff, like etc., the team round about him, I have to admit I'm quite impressed of who he's bringing in, and it's actually getting me a little bit excited. And with that, it's excited to see what we are going to do in this year's draft.
Yeah. And there is lots going on. What I'll do, and I'll send it to you, once all the combine pieces have been finished, is I'll make a list of every single formal and informal interview the Cowboys had at the combine, which we can post onto our social media. So all the followers can see then which direction. A lot of running backs. They went running back heavy.
Well, we've been saying this for like the past couple of months. This has probably been the most stat running back group of all the drafts I can remember.
For a long time.
Take Ashton Gentry out the equation. I know he's a top 10 talent, and if he's there, I totally understand why we do go for him. But you're not gonna miss the running back position regardless this year. I don't think. There's Hampton, Caleb Johnson, Ollie Gordon, Devin Neal. There's so many of these guys in this year's draft. Like they can come in and be our running back number one, 100%.
Yeah. I mean, we spoke about one guy we really like, Amari Hampton. He's on the list. They've interviewed him extensively, and a little bit of news on this one. Can't tell you from who. I'll tell you later. We speak to him a lot. Anyway, he said that when Amari Hampton left his interview, the Cowboys were one of only a few teams that when he left, still had his name written on the board. So the Cowboys interviewed him, kept his name up.
Wow.
Which is like telling. They were like impressed.
Okay, so for me then, I think in order to do that, I think if we were to get him at pick him at 12, it'll be a bit too rich. I think we can afford to drop back, I don't know, 5 places, 5 or 6 places, and still get him and still pick up an extra, maybe second rounder, third rounder. Who knows? Just depends how we negotiate things. But if that's the case, and I know, like, if we were to draft Hampton, we would lose our minds. I would lose my mind if we got Caleb Johnson. Caleb Johnson's my guy. I love Caleb Johnson.
Yeah.
Like, and obviously we have one particular offensive lineman that we're a big fan of.
Oh yeah, really both of us on that.
yeah. We're both on par with this one. But but just to give me a wee quick recap about the combine so far, because as far as I'm aware, the tight ends and cornerbacks were there last night. Travis Hunter was out there. He was outperforming. I'm just going to see if I can fetch up the results so far from the combine.
Well, put it this way. I know one guy. So we did a mock draft on Thursday on the UK Cowboys show, and both you and me had this guy land in our lap in the second round, and we both went.
No, it was the third. It was the third round.
And we both, I think we'll both get this jersey for different reasons.
Yeah.
The dude, right now, perfect RAS score, 10.0 on the RAS. That is insane. And this guy plays defensive line, and we're talking about Shamar Stewart from Texas A&M. And I'm sorry we're going heavy Texas A&M on you, but it's just the way it is. The dude, his hops were insane. Run 21 mile an hour. He's over 260 pounds. I think I sent you the speed scores. I think I
you sent me you sent me a couple of them. You definitely sent me Shamar Stewart. You sent me that, and I was like, wow, okay.
Shamar Stewart, here we go. Max speed. His max speed on the 40-yard dash time when he got through, Shamar Stewart was running at 21.89 miles an hour.
Can you imagine a guy that size running right towards you?
Running at you like that?
My God.
That's basically a truck tire coming at you.
Okay, so I've got the results so far. So the fastest time recorded so far for the 40-yard dash is by Maxwell Hairston, the cornerback from Kentucky, with a
Close call.
4.28. That will definitely raise his draft stock because he's been routed to be a second rounder. He could potentially, after how he performs for the rest of this combine and in his pro day, he could be in the talk of being in the first round now.
Yeah,
So
yeah. There's been some interesting ones. You know, the offensive linemen have been in this, so I wanted to see some of that. There's some small school guys you've got to keep an eye on, which I love. But I mean,
speaking about small schools, I'm actually quite surprised. I don't. Wait, I'm just gonna double check this to confirm. A bit. I'm looking to see if he's there. Okay, so one of my guys is there. Yeah. Okay. So, but my other guy, Mike Green, has not been participating, which I'm really disappointed on. I really am.
yeah.
But my other guy, David Walker from Central Arkansas, he did not too bad in his 40-yard dash for 4.69. He did all right.
And here's a really good one, and I truly believe this may be a direction that they go in the first. Is one of the guys that they've interviewed, and there's talk about him coming down the ranks in the draft for various reasons. Like, I kind of get it, but I don't. Is Ted McMillan from Arizona.
Yeah.
That dude, right? We need a position receiver, an X-type receiver. He is the best one in this draft. If they get him at 12, him and CeeDee Lamb together would be killer.
Well, it's funny that you mention it. I know you're saying he's probably the best wide receiver. A lot of people might debate that.
Oh, no, the best X type. The best X.
Right. Okay, right. Like, because obviously the whole talk of the town is Travis Hunter, who is a cornerback and wide receiver. So, so it'll be very interesting to see how that plays out. Whoever he gets drafted to, does he play both ways? Does he play just cornerback, or does he play just wide receiver? So, you've never seen anything like this. A Heisman Trophy winner playing two positions at a very top level. But yes, before we do start our mock draft, we will have to pay the bills. Give a big shout out to our sponsor, and we'll be back momentarily, and then we can start the first World's Team mock draft of 2025. We'll be back with you in one moment.
The World's Team Podcast is brought to you by Cowboys Experience. The ultimate Cowboys experience with stadium tours, meet and greets, tailgating, game tickets, and much more. For more information, please go to www.cowboysexperience.com.
Yeah, be sure to go and check out cowboysexperience.com. Me and Mike, we are going to be going with Cowboys Experience again this year with our UK Cowboys fans group. So we have got a big bunch of guys of us in terms of, I think we've got a between 15 to 20 people signed up. A lot of us have already paid our deposits to go over this year. We've got an amazing package deal. So if you want to be involved, be sure to contact the UK Cowboys fans. But if you want to do some different trip, be sure to go and contact Cowboys Experience. They will make sure you're treated like absolute royalty. And be sure to use the discount code World's Team 2024. We will change the discount code, though. We will.
I'll get on that. I'll get on that for you.
Yeah. Okay. But yes, we are about to start our first World's Team mock draft of 2025. So the rules of this mock draft is no trades because we're currently in the combine right now.
Combine mode, yeah.
We're in combine mode.
We're
doing everything by face value right now. And we're just going to pick what's been presented to us with no trades. So before we do that, Mike, outline me the most key positions that you're interested in right now.
So that the most needy position, I feel, on this draft, coming into this draft, the Cowboys really, really need is running back, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not saying it's the most important. It's the one that they definitely do need to address in this draft, though. Like
Yes.
some of them, if they didn't, you can squint really hard and go, okay, so what's your plan? Running back is a big one. Cornerback is another, because at this stage, we've got Deron Bland playing, and that's it. No Jordan Lewis, Trayvon Diggs, question mark, big one. Defensive line, offensive line is also the other way, because you've got question marks on the defensive line that really struggle against the run. Offensive line just needs pieces. It needs to retool. And then the other one's linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're pretty much empty there.
Yeah. So for me, it starts with offensive line. That's always going to be your cornerstone for your offense. Like, doesn't matter what running back you do draft. If you don't have a decent O-line, then your run game's still going to fall apart. So I think O-line is a more cornerstone like need in terms of once you get the O-line fixed, then the other moving pieces come together. It helps your quarterback, helps your wide receivers, and it helps your running back. So that's where I'm thinking with that. I agree with defensive end also. I think like obviously with some players, like obviously we're hearing news about DeMarcus Lawrence. He's getting an extension. That might it helps. So I might deprioritize that. We've got Sam Williams coming back, but we don't know what condition he's going to be in. We've also got Marshawn
Nealand.
We don't know if we're going to bring back Carl Lawson. So, and that's something that I would love to do in free agency is bring back Carl Lawson. If we can do that, I think that would actually help us deprioritize in terms of the need for defensive end for sure. And obviously we've got Micah Parsons as well. So I think from that, and I totally agree with you in terms of cornerback, it's definitely a sneaky need. And same with linebacker. I would say linebacker also, because when you think about it, Overshawn picked up his second injury. Obviously he missed out all of last year, and I think it was like week 12 or week 13 he got injured and he was out. And it's for him to come back again, and obviously Eric Kendricks, we don't know if he's coming back, etc. So we're really thin at linebacker, and there's a good decent amount of linebackers in this draft as well.
Linebackers look really good in the combine. Some of them blitzed it.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a lot of ways we can navigate this draft. Well, not our mock draft, but in terms of how Jerry and Steven could do it. So it really depends what we do in free agency. I think this is going to be one of the most key free agencies, especially with a brand new head coach, new coaching staff, new motto, new demeanor, new environment in a way. And we already are seeing the changes where we're not being as media heavy. So I think we are taking the baby steps to be like doing the right things now and taking this more seriously. So fingers crossed, and I hope that keeps on going the way it is. But for this draft, Mike, we're just going to have to roll the dice and see. So without further ado,
I did want to say one other thing I forgot about is a wide receiver too.
We do need
what I would say is important in this draft is they can go one of two directions. It is completely pointless. I'm not pointless because having more wide receivers is fine, but the depth of this wide receiver group isn't that great this year. First time we've seen that in a while. Wide receivers have always been dominant in the draft. This one, not so much. So if you're not going to get a wide receiver, I would say in the first 2 rounds, the wide receivers you're going to get from round 3 and beyond, because the Cowboys have a bunch of wide receiver 3s, wide receiver 4s on the team. When you look at it, they're all wide receiver 3s, wide receiver 4s. They're all battling for that wide receiver 3 and 4 spot. There's no wide receiver 2. So it's pointless really if you get to the third round, drafting a wide receiver, because the quality you're going to get there is pretty much much the same of what you've already got. So if you're not going to go early wide receiver, then go late. But just stock up.
Yeah, I think given how this mock draft might happen, if there's a wide receiver that is just their best player available, I think that's what we would have to do in that situation. Like you were mentioning before we started recording the show is McMillan from Arizona. If he's there at 12, I wouldn't be surprised if we took him. I wouldn't be surprised.
Makes a lot of sense.
It makes sense.
Mm.
We just have to wait
You get a position of need, a position in a draft where there isn't that much depth.
Yep.
Defensive line, plenty of depth. Offensive line, middling.
I mean,
running back, lots of depth.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There is some good wide receivers out there. There's Jalen Royal from
Utah.
Yeah. Like those guys can definitely come in and contribute. But again, like I would say
a wide
they're
receiver
like
2 you're after.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like for wide receiver number 2, I think that would be a good fit. But like I was saying, no. Without further ado, we are about to start our mock draft. So here we are. For people who are listening on Spotify and Apple Podcast, we are currently sharing Pro Football Focus PFF Mock Draft Simulator. If anyone is not familiar with it, it's a great tool to get you really familiarized with certain players, positions, etc., how the draft works, how trades work. But good thing about this mock draft, we're doing no trades. We're just going up based on face value. So I guess what we want to do first is what type of settings do we want to make this mock draft? Do we want to make it more public opinion or PFF opinion? Do we want to be more careful?
In the middle. Go in the middle. Go in the middle.
Exactly in the middle. All right.
Yeah.
And what about care for position value?
Up to you on that. All of these ones I don't really mind.
Right. Yeah, I would just go roughly, but yeah, just like because it could be an absolute unicorn that might actually pop up there.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, and obviously we're doing the Dallas Cowboys, so we select that.
All 7 rounds.
Oh, yeah, I can't forget that. All right. But yes, folks, if you want to see how we do this, be sure to go and check it out on YouTube rather than on Spotify and Apple Music, because obviously audio and video, etc. Not to point the obvious, but you get me. But yes, so we are just about to enter the draft. So here we are. And obviously you can see here on the left-hand column is basically all the draft picks in the correct order. As you can see here, the Cowboys are number 12. Pick number 1 is Tennessee, followed by Cleveland, New York, etc., etc. And on the right-hand side, I know there's been a lot of rumors, like blah, blah, oh, we should trade up to go number 1. Not going to happen. It's not going to happen. We're not in the situation we could be dealing with trading up. We're not. We need to trade back if that's the case, especially if anything. So, but without further ado, Mike,
let's do it, baby.
I'm going to slow it down a little bit. I'm not going turbo mode, not a chance, because I do want to kind of slow it down a little bit. So, are you ready to start?
Ready when you are, sir.
All right, let's go. Right, okay. So Cam Ward goes. Oh wow. Okay.
No, that's fine. That's good speed. I like that.
All right. Okay. So Cam Ward goes number 1. McMillan goes to Arizona. Sanders goes to quarterback. Travis Hunter goes to Colorado. Abdul Carter goes to Jacksonville. Mason Graham from Michigan goes to the Oakland Raiders. J.D. Barron to Texas. Will Campbell, who I'm a big fan of, goes to the Panthers. Tyler Warren, who you said is probably the safest pick.
Safe. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the safest plays in this year's draft.
Yep. Ashton Gentry. Well, that actually helps us a lot. that fixes that one a lot. So, and sadly, Luther Burden, the third from Missouri, is taken by San Francisco. So, and obviously, there's been a lot of rumors about how Brandon Ayuk from San Francisco wants to be traded away and stuff like that. And they could be looking for another wide receiver. So, very interesting. So, now looking back at the right-hand column, we've got the players available. So we've got Maliki Starks, Jihad Campbell, James Pierce, Mike Green, my guy. But I think in this situation, I think I would probably do a different direction on this one, but we've got wide receiver Egaba, Kelvin Banks from Texas, the tackle, Josh Simmons. You've got your guy there, Walter Nolan.
Yeah.
Shamar Stewart at 23.
There he is.
There's
See,
Hampton
now-
there. There's Hampton at 26.
Yeah. But you look at all these players available in this particular instance now. You're looking at the edge players, defensive players, as well as the offensive linemen and the running backs and wide receivers that are available to you there. You just look at that and you go, how can you just like not trade back? Like, even if we traded back 5 places right now, there's more than 5 players on that list I would take.
100%. 100%, mate.
You just go through it and you're like, I know we're not trading, so it makes this a little bit more finicky.
Yeah.
In this particular case, what we've got here, based on knowing what we've done in previous mocks, the 2 ways I'm going here is it's either offensive tackle right now or cornerback.
I was thinking edge, if I'm being honest.
Edge absolutely works as well. James Pierce is available from Tennessee.
That's the guy I was looking at.
Insane combine.
Well, he's still to finish all of his combine, I believe. There's still
but what he's done so far, blown it out of the water. He's been like one of the stars.
He is the fastest defensive end in this year's combine. So
it's unbelievable.
Like, I would love to win Mike Green on this, but because we're not seeing him at the combine, so therefore I can have like compare that way as well from the athletic standpoint. It's kind of put a bit of a sour grape, and I think that's what other teams are going to be thinking as well. So
probably
if it was me, mate, my guess I would go for James Pierce, but there is Jihad Campbell. We are desperately in need of another linebacker. So
I would say though, I'm against the idea of drafting a linebacker in the first round.
Yeah,
just the volatility of the position.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that was a bad idea what they did with LVE. I get the idea, but look how it panned out. That he was often injured, and then it becomes a case of very much the same as drafting a running back in the first round. I'm not against the idea of drafting them in the first round. It's just that they play such a volatile position.
Yeah,
it's a lot of capital to throw at somebody who's got the highest probability of being injured.
Yeah, exactly. So I think in this case, mate, I'm leaning towards James Pierce. Don't get me wrong. There's Kenneth Grant and Will Johnson, two guys. Like these 2 guys here at 14 and 15. But
and I like the idea of Kelvin Banks here too.
Yeah, Kelvin Banks, I think, depending on the other needs of teams, I think we could probably trade back and get Kelvin Banks potentially.
Yeah,
but
I mean the thing is you've got 3 very decent tackles there if you traded back.
Yeah, exactly. But we're not, like we're saying, we're not trading back. So
we're not trading back. I'll let you take the first pick.
All right. Well, for this one, I think. Oh well. It depends on what we do in free agency. It really does.
Okay, we're on a blank slate. They didn't do anything in free agency.
If they didn't do anything in free agency, so we didn't. So we haven't re-signed DeMarcus Lawrence. We haven't re-signed Carl Lawson.
Carl Lawson.
Well, that would make my decision much more easier. Then I would go for James Pierce. If I wasn't, then. And I can't believe I'm about to say this, I would probably go for Will Johnson, the cornerback.
Good choice.
Yeah. And I can just imagine fellow Cowboys Nation just be like, oh no, please, not another Michigan player in the first round. Please, no. But there is a hindsight to that, not hindsight, but there is a just like third time. I think it's like this will be like the third time's the charm, I think, in this one, if we were to do this. But I'm sorry, but yeah, James Pierce Jr. from edge rusher from Tennessee is going to be our first round for this year's draft. So I'm going to lock it in.
Go for it. I've done a scouting report on him on Blogging the Boys.
Here we go. So, there you go. Kelvin Banks went 23 there.
Now, the question is our guy going to be... He's the... Oh, no. Oh, it's the wrong one. Oh, wounded.
Oh,
I thought he was going to land in our lap then.
but
But
so
see how the second round has started, and it's all edge defenders. And you've got
y-
Princely from Mississippi. You've got some very decent edge defenders there. I'm not saying what you did was wrong, but it's just like it shows that there's enough to play with in this year's draft. This particular, what we're seeing at the moment, a lot of defensive players that is telling us is highly ranked. Right now, though, like if we go, could you go down? I want to see what other wide receivers and running backs there are.
all right, okay, let me just filter that for you.
Yeah,
So
I like Scatterboo, but the trouble with Scatterboo is I feel he's very much like Trevion Henderson. He's more of he's a fantastic RB2. You still need a bell cow.
yeah,
They're not
and
one that's going to take all three, not a 3 down back.
yeah. If it was me, I would go for Caleb Johnson. I know he's ranked 63rd on this,
Yeah,
but
which is why I think I would, if for any of these other running backs right now, if they're there at the 3rd round, I'm snapping them up. All of these guys.
so what would you say in this situation? Like, let me bring
Remove the filters.
I'm bringing O-line in here because we're going to have to
Okay.
look at this as well. So you've got Tyler Booker, the guard from Alabama. So
Yes, fine. It's fine.
let's
He's fine.
and he's played majority on the left side. He has played right guard before.
Yeah.
But
He has.
and he's got a good pass block grade, zone grades decent, run block decent, gap grade decent. But it's true is his pass blocking ability,
Yeah.
protecting
Only 2
Dak
career
Prescott.
sacks.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think in that case that this would be, I would say, the safe option. Also, probably best player available in terms of
Yeah.
need.
Yeah. And it fills the Zach Martin question mark, because then you go, there's our Zach Martin. If we are playing off the premise that we're going to take a running back in the next round, you've filled a position that is required to make sure that your running back that you get in this year's draft has at least a fighting chance at the line. Now, I know you're looking at Ursary. He's brilliant, really good.
Yeah.
And he showed up as well, like against some top tier talent. I'm fine with the Booker idea. If you wanted to go Ursary, I would go with that too, because he's not going to be available to you by the next round.
Yeah. If it was me, Mike, I would go for Caleb Johnson because he's not going to be there in the 3rd round. But I'm hoping in the 3rd round our guy's going to be there.
Okay, all right. So foreseeing other ideas. Okay, I'll go with that. So I would say if you wanted to do that, forecasting and going through your draft sequencing, which is smart. Yes, I see where you're going now. That does make sense. And like when you look at, you say, oh, you've got Scatterboo there. I worry about not the player, but the fit in Dallas with Scatterboo.
Exactly. I think Johnson's a much better fit to this, or like what's supposedly going to be our new offense. I think that would
Can
be
I
a
see his
better
stats? Could I see his
fit.
stats?
For who? Sorry.
For Johnson, Caleb Johnson, Iowa. So if we have a look, I mean, there you go, 21 touchdowns. I mean, that's just a beast in. You look at some of the defensive heavy teams he played against, he was decent.
Wisconsin, Northwestern, Washington. Minnesota, Troy.
Yeah, that's what I was more looking at there, 6.4 yards per carry, played in all 12 games. And let me just take a look. Yeah, I mean, look at that.
Even still,
66 missed tackles forced. Unbelievable. And then, 1,060 yards after contact. So you can see.
And he's 6 foot. He's not like your typical 5'10", 5'11". He's a taller running back as well.
And he's got some weight to him.
Exactly. So this is why I'm a big fan of him.
Go for it. Let's lock that in. Let's lock that in, because I want to go with your plan where we're trying to sequence the draft. Yeah. Let's do it.
Right.
Let's do it.
Okay, so for the second round, the Dallas Cowboys have selected Caleb Johnson. We have our running back. All right, we just need to kind of pray and hope now, see what happens.
Yeah. And here's what you got to remember. You've got to make this pick right, because there's no 4th round pick. I think he's going to be there.
I think he's there. He is.
He is.
Right, so yeah. You want to explain it, Mike?
So we're going offensive line, more specific tackle. We're worried about Terrence Steele. We know that Tyler Guyton has some questions. You could tinker around with it and move him, but why not give some support? Now, we've just drafted a running back. We had issues run blocking last year, very early in the season. Did pick up and get a little better, as we saw with Rico Dowdle's production. But why not say the right-hand side of that line was a problem last year? Let's fix it. You take that with Wyatt Millam from West Michigan, who is being just an absolute brick wall his entire career. 0 sacks. And in the last 2 seasons, only 15 total pressures.
Yeah. And look at his actual grades. Run like nearly every single grade, like other than
at the top.
Right up there. It's all in blue. When it's just for anyone that's unaware, if the stat line is blue, that means it's top tier.
And he's left tackle, right? So if you did, as I say, if you wanted to tinker around and say, should we put Tyler Guyton back to his natural position? We've seen the Cowboys do this with Tyron Smith, who he started on the right-hand side. We moved him to the left. Turned out that was better for him. Had an unbelievable career playing left tackle. So then why not try that with Guyton? You take Wyatt Millam and stick him on the left. You literally have solved 2 issues at your bookends. There we are. Hey, presto. Now all you've got to figure out is what are you doing at right guard? Hopefully, they figure that out with the guys they've got, or they should be re-signing or getting back on the team. Brock Hoffman, Kokoff. I mean, this is a no-brainer for me and you.
Yeah, this is a no-brainer. I'm sorry, like we do have like Jordan Phillips, so the defensive interior tackle there. We do have him. We've got several other players, but yeah, you've got Jalen Royals there, the wide receiver, a guy I'm a big fan of as well. But fantastic. I think in this situation you cannot mess up and mill him. You cannot mess up.
Every time when we see him in our mock drafts, me and you are
instantaneously.
You just gravitate to him.
I don't think, other than, well, for me personally, mine was Cole Strange, like a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
but I think of all the draft picks, if Wyatt Millam is there as one of the best players available, I'm instantaneous. I don't care. I'm taking him. I've always been like that, and I've not been like that for a long time. So, but so
and ironically, the UK Cowboys draft, this happened, and we both did the same thing. As soon as he was there, we both shot out of our chairs and went, "Ooh!"
That we did. All right. Well,
and pick it, and then while we're cycling through on the things, I'll just mention it because we know that's the pick.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go for it. Okay. Welcome, Wyatt Millam. There we go.
Now we have a long wait for our 5th round pick. So what I was going to say is, Wyatt Millum as well is a very safe pick, right? At that point, no 4th round pick. So you can't make gambles right here. And I think what Millum does is that ticks a box on we're not taking a gamble at this stage to have to wait so long and continue to make gambles. That's just how I look at it.
Okay, so this is where it's going to get a bit more distorted.
Damn it.
So,
Trevor Etienne is there. He was as well, just so you know, he was interviewed by the Cowboys.
Is there any of the wide receivers here that have been interviewed?
There's
Nick Nash.
Nick Nash, I actually, of all the wide receivers in this year's draft, he leads all of them in total touchdowns. He absolutely blitzed it this year. I know it's San Jose State, and I know what people are going to say, but it's still impressive. You know, you still want to see a guy dominating. I mean, at this stage now, like we've skipped past the wide receivers. Like we were saying, we're in the 5th round here, so I'm not really looking to grab a wide receiver just for the sake of wide receiver. I mean, Kobe King from Penn State, an absolute run stuffer.
It's something we do need.
I'm Penn State last year. Was an absolute defensive unit. They faced Ashton Genty in the bowl game, in their particular bowl game. I forget which one it was, and they shut Ashton down. That was a number of players. I mean, CJ West that's another guy who I love at this stage. I like the idea of CJ West. We've seen him in the combine. I mean, he was on the drills. He was smooth, Paul, with a capital smooth. Absolutely. He was just feathery on the floor. And there was a lot of guys in the drills that were having trouble with their footing. Like we've seen a couple of players slip and trip, and we even see one guy whose shoe fell off. CJ West was just smooth throughout the entire drills. I loved watching CJ West. He impressed me.
Give me your thoughts on Kyle Williams, the wide receiver from Washington State.
I haven't done a scouting report on him. I know that he's had issues with drop passes, is something that I know I've heard about. And that's about as brief as it gets at the moment with Kyle Williams. I haven't done a report. I haven't got to the 5th round, 6th round wide receivers yet. I'm getting there.
I mean, just from face value, and bear in mind, take this into equation that some of the competition he's played this year is not that great, but he has played some really good teams this year, like Texas Tech, Boise State, Utah, Syracuse. He's played some decent teams, but just looking at a stat line here, like he was over 1,000 yards. He's got 14 touchdowns. His route yards per run, 2.7 contested catch rate. He's won the majority of all his catches. He's been given a good receiving grade, and his grade versus man coverage is really good. So I think that could be something to maybe look into. And I think
I forget what's his size, because I know he's very undersized in terms of weight. I think he's only like 180 pound.
186.
Okay, not as bad as I thought. I think he is slightly undersized from brief memory. As I say, I know from what I can remember on the like a brief outline is that he struggled with drops.
And
or more consistency, if you like.
Yeah. Okay, so what else do we have here? So Seth McLaughlin, Nick Nash. There is cornerback. There's O'Donnell Fortune there.
We do need cornerback. Cornerback is huge.
I think linebacker. To be honest, I think
linebacker and cornerback right now are both needs. We've gone back. We've fixed the defensive line with our first pick. Great pick, by the way. You're still looking at linebacker, still looking at cornerback, and interior defensive line.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, that there's the three options there.
So you're
Some people
thinking,
go
you're
on.
thinking,
If you want,
you're
if it's go Kobe King, I like Kobe King for Penn
no,
State.
no. But what I'm saying, are you thinking King, West, or Fortune? Who is there? Anyone else here that might stand? Well, there is Simeon Barrow Jr., but you're not a big fan of him, are you?
It's just I'm trying not to be biased and draft by the logo. It's just that Miami had a great season this year or last season, and but Miami, especially defensive linemen, and we've seen one last year who's like it. They could just be inconsistent. Ask Mike Tagg. Mike Tagg is a Miami Hurricanes player, and he will tell you that exact thing.
He's not a player; he's a fan.
Sorry, fan. Yeah. Yeah, he will tell you the exact same thing. That they just like you always have very big dubious question marks with Miami defensive line players.
And the good thing is, after this pick, he might like some of these players. I think it might be worthwhile getting a player that it might not actually be there in 20 places time. Like so, the likes of Kyle Williams, the likes of Kobe King are not going to be there at 170.
Yeah,
I think CJ West might be there potentially,
he
depending
could
on the
be.
other.
I think he's raised his stock, however, from the combine.
Well, what do you think? Like, I'll let you make the decision on this one.
And here's another good thing with Kobe King, Penn State linebacker, and he's going to be paired up and hovering around with Micah Parsons.
That's one of the other reasons as well. Is familiarity.
Yeah.
Like, so. I mean,
Look,
yeah.
King led Penn State in total tackles, right? With Penn State, high IQ guy, an insane run stopper. You're not going to get much pass rush out of him, and you're not going to get much coverage either, which is a weakness. But he is a Mike linebacker. Name me on this team who's that Mike linebacker right now. We got a bunch of Wills.
Mm-hmm. I think it's a need as well. So
It's a need.
So the more you break it down, I think this is going to be the obvious choice. I think.
Yeah.
So you good to go with Kobe King?
I'll go with Kobe King just for just for that. Yeah.
All right. Welcome to Dallas, Kobe King. All right, let's see what happens. So CJ West is now actually off the board.
Wounded.
Okay, so this is where it gets really interesting. So we've literally got 3 draft picks in the next 6. So we could.
So this Stutzman from Oklahoma, another linebacker, he's had a really good combine too. Smashed the 40 yard. Yeah, like, you know, if you wanted to talk about production question marks, yes. I would say though, take some of it with a pinch of salt.
I'm just looking at corner as well.
No, I'm not a fan of Longerbeam from Rutgers. Just not a fan of his. Anton Wells Jr. Yeah. I mean, wide receiver from Ole Miss. Jordan James, running back there. I mean, that's interesting. Taj Brooks there. We both like him. But I mean, like, talking of running backs, when you look at it, you just look at it and say, yeah, there's some depth here, because you're still talking about running back, and we're in the back end of the 5th round.
I know.
What corner? Fill me the cornerbacks.
All right.
Because we are, that is a need. See, we could wait on them. there's a couple there that are fine, but I would rather wait on them on these guys. I'm definitely out on Longbeam. I mean, look, Cowboys have also said, Stephen Jones more specifically, has come out and said that they are going to draft a quarterback in this year's draft. That being the case, that means Trey Lance is done. That being the case, Cooper Rush is on the move again. So now you have no backup quarterback currently. And we're sitting here with three very able quarterbacks, but are in need of refinement in some certain stages. You've got Quinn Ewers, processing, play under the pressure, fantastic arm. Kyle McCord, I mean, dude smashed out the Shrine Bowl, probably the best player there. He's a great one. Curtis Rourke from Indiana, also a guy, very, very good quarterback too. You could, based on the fact that you're only 2 picks. So basically, you've got 3 picks in 4. You can take 3 draft picks in 4 places here. And you could actually say, right, well, let's get the quarterback out the way, the backup quarterback. We'll do that now. Wait 2 picks. Let's have a look, see what's available in the cornerback department. Maybe we could look at wide receiver.
It's not going to be. It's pretty much the board's going to be pretty much the same.
Yeah. So you pretty much have a lovely run, yeah.
Like I think we could probably get one of these quarterbacks at 172. That's what I'm thinking. We're two picks away. So if I clear that up and go back in again, like there's tight end. We could get another running back. We could get a new center. There's like I'm just trying to think what players. Where there's Tim Smith, 182. He could be gone based on need.
Interesting idea. I mean,
look at the game we played against Michigan.
Against Michigan, more specifically, yeah. Okay, let's do it just to get the biggest concern out the way and take the best available defensive tackle, because defensive tackles more, 3 tacks are deep. I mean, let's do it. Let's get that out of the way. We can always check quarterback later down with these other couple of quick picks, and then the last few then in the 6th or 7th round we could tinker just around with Tracy type guys.
Yep. Okay. So you happy to go with Tim Smith?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. And they would go. Oh, yeah. It's pretty much the same board. There's obviously
we've already gone 2 picks down.
Yep. So, so let me just review what we've done so far. So we've got James Pierce, Taylor Johnson, Wyatt Millam, Kobe King, Tim Smith. So we've got 3 defensive players to add. It's basically more or less in the trenches, which is good. Yeah. There's nothing here for wide receiver, I would say. Do you think maybe even tight end, maybe even a possibility?
It is kind of sneaky that you need it. Would you be opposed, right? Just to cover things, just to cover your bases. If it's going to be any tight end at this stage, Luke Lachey, I think, is the one that
I like Luke Lachey. I really do.
And you can't argue with an Iowa Hawkeye tight end, because Iowa just crank out tight ends like no one's business.
He could be there at 189. He could be there.
Yeah. Why not? Yeah. But would you be opposed, Paul, just for protecting yourself here, of drafting another running back?
I would not be opposed to that at all. So let me have it.
If you like, we know, like, look at these guys: Jordan James and Taj Brooks. Ollie Gordon is still there. 3 guys. The only thing I'm wondering is, could you wait? So use these 2 picks to take positions of need, and then if one of these guys, these last couple of guys here, who are essentially they are what's the word I'm looking for? Like more spell type running backs, because then you've also got Juice Vaughn to play, that scat back role. This could be your RB2, but maybe wait for pick 189 to look at these guys.
There's potential there, but
Jordan
I
James, Taj Brooks, Ollie Gordon, all three of those I'd be happy with.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Jordan James is really good. And Oregon had a really good season last year for the most part. A lot of it was based on the ground game.
Man, look at Taj Brooks. Jeez.
Yeah, he's interesting.
Yeah, he actually had an okay game against my Texas Mean Green, so he did.
Yeah. I don't want to hurt your feelings, mate, but most teams play well against the Mean Green.
Shut up.
But I mean, look, the way I would do this right now is I want to cover my positions of need. So I'm thinking cornerback, defensive. So we've covered the defensive tackle. So I'm thinking cornerback, wide receiver. You could get another linebacker, because linebacker is extremely shy as well. But I just really want to get my bases covered, so then I can head into these last few picks just taking traitsy guys.
I'm just wondering, because from previous mock drafts, Ricky White does go much earlier than 206. He does.
I would take him. Yeah, I would take him. Like we're into day 3, so you're just trying to get guys that are gonna help you down the line. All right, I know we said we've got a bunch of wide receiver 3s, wide receiver 4s. Ricky White would fall into that too. But I mean, look, what was the plan with the Cowboys when CD Lamb was out? It was just to throw everything against the wall, see what sticks. That could happen again this year. So why not just get more, cover yourself more on what could stick? Because there's going to be no Brandon Cooks. So now you're even more up against it if that does happen.
I tell you what, I think now, do the quarterback now.
Okay.
And 174, get Ricky White. That's what I'm thinking.
Do it.
So who would you pick out of the available quarterbacks? So Ellers, McCord, and Rourke.
McCord is very interesting. He had a really, really good Senior Bowl. Shrine Bowl was unbelievable. You look at his statistics, he had 34 touchdowns this year to 12 interceptions. Year before, 24 touchdowns to only 6 interceptions. Quarterback rating is always a good place to kind of like get a rough idea of what type of guy you're getting. But this guy was doing it for the Qs against tough competition, especially in comparison to what he had to play with. Quinn Ewers is a really good. His arm talent is unbelievable. 2 problems with Quinn Ewers is he struggles under pressure, which we've seen. Processing speed can be a little slow, but also he played literally all of last season with an injury, which has come out at the combine. That he's talked about. Yeah, I was injured pretty much, the whole of the season, which can account for some of it. But you're also seeing, like, if you're saying, okay, that was the reason for your 2024 performance, what was going on in 2023 then? Because we're seeing the same thing in both years.
Yeah.
So, really good arm. The arm talent is all there. It's more what's between the ears with him.
And a guy I do like Curtis Rourke as well.
Curtis Rourke, he's brilliant.
Yeah. Had an okay game against Michigan, played well against Nebraska, UCLA. Yeah, I mean, I think at this point, any one of these guys as a backup quarterback would be a good fit. But
yeah, I mean, you're looking just to take a guy with the highest floor, if you like, and just trying to elevate him.
And I think in terms of when you look at like so the Shrine Bowl and the Senior Bowl, I think McCord was one of the main standouts as well.
Yes, yeah, he was. Yeah.
So I think based on that, I would probably more swing towards McCord.
Or do you take the local guy with all the arm talent and hope you can progress the mental aspect of the game to him?
Dallas would love that shit. Oops, excuse my French.
Yeah. Go on, go with you as just
Right.
something different.
Yeah, something different. All right, okay, let's do it.
And then we'll get Ricky White with this one.
Yeah, because he will be gone because other teams will want to try and snap him up. So
Yeah, let's do that. Fills a need, and then we got the last 3 picks to just take traitsy guys.
I'm just looking at other wide receivers just to kind of like see if there's any counter argument. There's Keandre Lambert Smith. There's Dike. Not
From Florida.
Caden Prater. No. Yeah,
I mean,
think
Taj Felton Taj Felton. He interests me a lot. I want to see what he's going to look like actually at the combine.
So he's had 3 drop passes. Smith. Okay. This kind of changes a little bit. This kind of changes a little bit. Like in terms of statistics, in terms of drops, Ricky White is actually worse.
Yeah, right. Okay, so
his contested. So
okay, can I go to the other guy?
Right,
just so I can be sure.
Yes, yeah. So let me mention first. So his contested catch rate is 39.1%, drop rate 8.2. Now, if I go back to Keandre, 5.7, less contested catch rate, 50%.
Yeah, right. Okay, but here's the thing: he's done that on only 50 receptions, where Ricky Wright's on 80.
So
he's targeted a lot less.
Even though he's targeted a lot less, but he still managed to pull out 8 touchdowns.
Yeah.
And what did Ricky Wright get for touchdowns?
11.
11.
Yeah.
It's a coin flip.
Ricky Wright. I would go Ricky White because we know he's interested. He was actually really good as well. I forget which one he was at, which bowl. He was great. He was great there. He showed off. He was very interesting. Quick get off. Very sharp. Looked good.
All right. Well, okay. I'll go with it. Ricky White it is. All right. Welcome to Dallas.
Woo. All right. So now you just have to traitsy guys at this stage. Curtis Rock's still there.
Taj Brooks is now available.
Yeah. You've got extra. We said we weren't opposed to the idea of taking another running back. You've got the 3 guys we talked about: Jordan James, Taj Brooks, and Ollie Gordon. At this stage, I would be happy to take that. The only thing I would say is we haven't covered the base with safety or tight end. So that would be somewhere I would look to maybe try and cover before anything else. I mean, there's Taj Felton. He's still available. Luke, there you go. There's Luke Lachey.
I think we could probably still get him, maybe.
You wait for the one after this?
I think I might take that risk.
Okay, I'll go with that. The only other guys all of these running backs are available interest me. The safeties at this depth, I still need to do some more groundwork on. Haven't got to these guys yet. The running backs I have. I know plenty on all these guys. I'm tempted. I'm tempted to get the other one and retool that entire running back core.
Yeah, Taj Brooks to me is the one, I think.
And he's a fantastic RB2. We've already got the RB1 sorted, so boosh. And we know that this this Cowboys coaching staff are going to lean very heavily on the running game. They've said it already.
Yeah, because like for example, if Johnson was to get injured, at least we've got someone to pick up the pace after.
Yeah, exactly. Because right now, if Johnson goes down, your RB1 is Vaughan.
Yep, there we go. Okay, well, Taj Bruce it is then, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's go for it.
Let's do it. I'm actually quite happy with that.
Yeah, I'm
I
actually
like, multifaceted too.
Oh,
There you go.
there he is. It's on. It's on. That's it.
Why not?
We do have cornerback there.
No, but I would still do that plan.
I'd go for tight
Because
end.
yeah, why not? I mean, we said that we liked Lachey. We wanted to do it. There he is available right at the top of the board. There you go. Then all you do is with your final pick, you look at what is your best defensive back. And you hope that you hope then
God, we
there's a guy there you could have.
We still could have got Curtis Rourke.
It's wild.
No.
I don't see that happening.
No, he'll be gone. He'll be gone. Yeah. All right. So straight to the point. Look likely.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh God,
and then a very long way. But this basically for me, I would just go defensive back, and you just go there. You go, whatever your best defensive back available right now, and you go with that.
All right. So let me just bring them all up then. Cornerback, safety.
Oh, there's Shiloh Sanders. If you really want to.
No. No.
But I mean, for me, you got Jabbar Muhammad from Oregon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
his coverage grade's good.
Yeah.
And obviously we're not really caring that much in terms of the run defense, but he's only given 1 touchdown last year, two. Okay, that's definitely piqued my interest. Had a good game against Boise State, UCLA, and had an alright decent game against Michigan. He seems to rise to the occasion to the more bigger games by the looks of it.
What it is with him, he doesn't take the ball away that much. But if you I always say like a nifty little indicator of how good a cornerback is just look at your passer rating allowed. That's just like a quick glimpse of. Whoop. I don't know much about.
He's giving up more touchdowns as well.
And if you go back to Muhammad, you look, his QBR rating allowed or passer rating allowed very low. It could be lower, but he just doesn't get that many interceptions. I don't know in terms of medical red flags what he's got, if there are any. But looking at his games played,
he's quite short as well. He's 5'10".
Yeah. So you're looking at a slot guy, but if we're not keeping Jordan Lewis, who's pretty much been our slot guy, there you go.
All right, okay, that's fair enough. So you're okay to go with Jabbar Muhammad?
Yeah, why not?
All right, okay, and that will be our final pick for version 1 of our mock draft. Be interesting to see how this is. Yeah.
Then we got more rewards, Paul. We're filling these rewards up on our mock draft.
Okay, so yeah, I expected the draft to be good because we drafted them way too early, but based on the drains. But I think we've covered quite a lot. But we got an overall grade of B+, which is all right.
And what do you think is fine when you're not doing any trades?
Yeah,
like this draft could have been better based on if we were trading, especially if we're trading in the first, especially if we're trading in the second, which is what we're looking at.
Yeah, no, totally. Okay, so I do like this actually.
Yeah,
we've tried to cover all bases of everything from certain positions and stuff like that. Me personally, I would like to have gotten another linebacker somewhere. But
I agree.
But I think when we start doing mock drafts with the trades, I think that's where you can really get a really good one. out there.
Because we can stock up and fiddle around.
Exactly. So I think when you really think about it, there's still holes to fill. Despite we've had how many draft picks do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 draft picks. We haven't really catered everything. We didn't get a safety. We could have got a better cornerback early on. And I think this is where, if we were in that position at 12 and the likes of the wide receivers, etc., are all gone, I think we will trade back. I think that has to happen.
To do a no trade and just like we've done, we just tried to go positional need at this stage. I mean, that to me is fine. You're just like, okay. And more than anything, what's brought it down is the fact that we took Caleb Johnson, but it doesn't. It's trying to not. It's
because it's because he was ranked 60.
Yeah,
but because we know he'll be gone when we get to the third round,
and he was the better fit.
Exactly. So I don't pay much attention to the grades, but I think from what we've done, Taj Brooks was an A-. That was a good one. So we've got a brand new elite edge rusher to add, obviously without signing D-Law and Carl Lawson. We add that to the, so we're amplifying the pass rush again, which is good. And hopefully it might be one of those ones where we don't actually draft a sitting duck like Tackle Charlton, where we missed out.
I don't see that. Seeing what James Pierce did in the combine, no, that's not happening.
Because when we look at it, we could have got TJ Watt, we could have got him. I think this is probably one of the best situations. We've got the best player available.
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
Yep. So I'm definitely on board with that. So, all right. Okay. So let me just remove that and go back to our normal stream. Woo-hoo. But yeah, that is our first mock draft for the Worlds team. So on the lead up to the NFL draft this year, we're going to be continuing on doing more mock drafts. We are going to bring special guests onto the show. It's just a bit. Do you actually have an update on that?
No, I'll get on that for you. I forgot all of it because you were away. The special guest we had has gone not to the back of the queue, but he's just pushed back. So I'll sort that out over this weekend now, and I'll get said special guest to come on with us next week.
Yeah, and we might actually do a draft together and get their insight on what they might think they might want to do as well. So we could do that. There we go.
Like a post-combine mock draft.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so it could be V2 next week then.
Yeah. Hold on then. Let me.
We'll sort it after the show. But anyway, folks. We will post this up on our social media, on our Instagram and Twitter. But yeah, please let us know what you think about this our first smart draft for the Worlds team. Do you think it fills a lot of holes? Do you think Caleb Johnson makes sense? Wyatt Willem, Kobe King, Tim Smith. Are you happy with the backup quarterback that we had the choice in? Let us know in the comments as well. But like we said, we'll be back next week. We haven't decided if we're going to do a mock draft yet, but I think we will do version 2.
Depends if we get the guest.
Yes. Yep. So I think we probably will still do it, but regardless. But it would be good if we had a guest. But either way, we'll be back next week, ladies and gentlemen. But until then, before we do go, Mike, please tell everyone where everyone can find you.
You can find me on X or Twitter, whatever you kids are calling it nowadays, at Kenfig Cowboy. That's Kenfig with a K, Cowboy with a K. And what about you, Mr. P?
You can find me at I am P-Stew on X and Instagram. But before we do go, be sure to also go and check our socials here down at the bottom. Go and check us out. Share the video. Be sure to like and subscribe. But yes, that is the end of this week's show. We'll be back next week. But as always here at the Worlds team, it's not just America's team. It is the Worlds team. But we'll see you guys next time. Have a good one. Have a wonderful weekend.
You've been listening to the Worlds Team Podcast. There's no other team like it in the world. Nothing more electrifying, then the Dallas Cowboys. And we're here to prove it. We bring in fan groups from Germany, France, Brazil, the UK, Canada, Japan. We're everywhere, baby. We hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. We'll be back soon. But in the meantime, find us on Instagram at the.worlds.team, on Twitter at _worlds_team, and on YouTube at the Worlds Team. How about them Cowboys?
And the only thing else I got to say is, how about them Cowboys?
See you next time.